No, it's a good sound. Definitely is a good sound. I'll definitely check them out. The growlers, yeah.
I wrote the Pitchfork article on them. I think it was 2016 before the world changed for good.
uh,
Saw them live
I,
in Louisville, Kentucky.
I was thinking about that point earlier today, by the way, about how the world changed. You know, like fragile that our society really is. We get so comfortable with just how things go and how, we're just used to civilization functioning a certain way. Like, of course you can fly somewhere. Of course you can go to the restaurant. Of course you can do X, Y, Z. Of course you can do this. And then just how quickly we adopted to not having any of that for like a significant period of time. Um, and just how unique that was to not only us, but to our parents and even to like grandparents, um, that they had this real, I would say it was awakening in a lot of people where they just realized how, at least in me, I was thinking about how fragile everything was, like how quickly everything could change. And we would just accept it. Like if tomorrow they told you like, yeah, we don't have any like cars or meat or something. I don't know. I'm talking more like things that talk about taking away for climate change. But I'm just saying, like, oh, we don't have enough resources to like burn coal, so like you can't heat your home anymore. And like how, yeah, at first people would lose their shit, and then you just adopt to it, and then you don't even think, you just kind of go with it. How we just go with things that just happen, and that change society, right?
You touching on utter helplessness? Is it a helplessness or hopelessness that you're keying into?
I was just talking more of societal observation, but perhaps you can bring it from a personal element or like you know, the way that you look at things.
This is the Ryan Positivity Hour. So
we are at a helpless time. The time for us to have done something about this is long gone. There is a deep desire to feel the way, if not, but for only one shimmering moment, the way you felt 10 years ago. You sit there somewhere within the sounds of my voice by way of Bluetooth or lawn audio, and you think about the shallowness of your day to day and wish there was a way to get more out of your very limited monthly Adderall prescription. And it reminds you of a time when taking Adderall was for kicking back with the fellas and say to one another, let's have the largest house party this neighborhood has ever seen. You realized
where you could use social media for good, like
yes,
for like organizing an impromptu neighborhood
yes,
party.
Yes. You go pull your resources together for community fun, and you think about how that party train is over. The dream is dead. The hope has died. No one that you interact with could give you any like new music. No one's finding anything new.
Have you heard of The Weeknd?
Right. Yeah. No one's going to give you anything new because no one's looking. You want to relive a time where you could still feel as good as you once did. And you're not alone, folks. We here at the Garbage Juice Podcast Network want to extend our hand and to accepting people to donate money to our Patreon page so they can get top tier monthly content that you, the everyday pirater of this, getting for free, getting without legally downloading. We're now offering that service for people to send us your money monthly, and you're going to get access to behind the scenes and bonus content
what you're saying, Ryan, is that if you're out there and you're struggling with the challenges of the world, give your money to an institution such as ours, and we will, through absolution, resolve your fears.
Yeah.
So we're essentially a religion.
Christ,
Is dead.
the American Protestant Christian, has known this. They know it in their hearts, and what they seek is the approval of Lord Bezos, Sir Musk, and the rest of them. The rest of the 501 billionaires. This world is
The popsicle people, remember?
that we
The people they turned into popsicles.
that we so take for granted, that we share the soil with them, and they've worked so hard to make their money, rightfully so. And every single one of them is a hard worker, grind set, alpha type. They've done mastery classes on such topics as finance. Access to premium content, folks, on our Patreon page. That is going to help you get through that seasonal depression that happens. It used to be a winter thing, but now it's a 4-season thing, and you live in a 2-season type climate rated zone. You're pretty much just getting like a cooler rainy season, and then summertime. You might also be under the spell of some evil and demonic astrology energy in your life. And why even bother with trying to make contact with anyone else? Because hanging out on the couch in your underwear sounds much nicer than that. Folks, you sign up to the Patreon page and you're going to get today's top tips on what's going to work for having the motivation to carry you through your next email meeting, your next Zoom meeting. We have all types of tips and tricks on how to talk to your professional colleagues on a Zoom call. Lee's got a vlog he's working on with some of the best greetings, best seasonal greetings for each hour of each part of the day, morning, noon, and late afternoon, the 3 times of days in the business community. He'll have the best greetings.
It's great in the morning. This is just a free sample. When you ask people like, have you defecated yet this morning? It's like one of those things that you just know. It's one of those things that makes people feel good. You ask them when you remind them of that feeling this morning when they just emptied their bowels, and they want to make sure that that's one of the first things you're asking someone as you enter in on the first Zoom call of the morning. You have your coffee there. You say, hey, it's instead of how the weather is, like, how was the toilet this morning? Did you have an easy shit this morning? And it just depending on the different words you want to use, depending on how close you are. Maybe it's a client, so you want to use some different terminology there. But you want to make sure that you're cluing in on the things that people are doing before you get on the call, just to make them relive those happy thoughts they had just a few minutes before they started talking to you about whatever nonsense you're spewing. So just a free tip for those viewers. That's a morning tip, as Ryan said. We really focus on things seasonally, and then 9/11 is coming up, so that's obviously the time of year to start talking about different things.
Big anniversary here.
The capability of jet fuel to melt steel beams, and
crazy. We still don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, start talking about watching YouTube documentaries from 2009. Have you seen Loose Change?
Only 100 times.
I mean, these are just the type of things, and I know I don't want to spill all the beans because I know I'm supposed to be saving this for the master class that I teach. But you really want to be cluing into the time of year, happenings of the year, and just be humorous, I think, is important.
Humor. Now that's a great topic. Who amongst us can admit that they've once laughed or felt the want to laugh? I'm sorry, I lost attention. You know what I got started thinking about?
Professor Kilometers.
Friend of the show, recurring character Professor Kilometers has,
Yeah,
from what I understand, departed your residence, Ryan.
that's right. As mysteriously as he arrived.
A good friend visited last week. He had allergic, so he camped outside.
Our time was long, but it was brief. Our bond, eternal, but our fire in each other's eyes with swords drawn burns brighter than the sun.
So can you perhaps help our listener understand what that type of battle entails?
It's a battle of the mind. When you have a fellow brain warrior in your dojo, and when he challenges your role as
A
sensei.
mind combatant, if you will.
That's right. Brain trust turned brain awry, and then just as mysteriously and strangely, as he arrived, he packed up his belongings and he saddled upon his horse for that longest ride yet back home to where he would embark on his next journey in life. And there was a lot of great things learned. One, it is possible to learn more about yourself when you open up and you acknowledge your own flaws and you put some walls down for just enough time to have your debate opponent put their walls down and then open up to you. And then you bring your walls immediately back up on a spring-loaded multi-ton compression counterweight system that you have pulled up as a self-defense mechanism that you've been training on. Already made a TikTok about him and his stay at your place, and you totally roast his ass.
We went on walks, traded crypto, enjoyed laughter. Summer 22 reached legendary status. Things were great, and then it happened. No one can tell you how your friend might react to the news of a former president's involvement in extremely funny and dumb guy behavior. Turns out, my friend had given up politics for good, just moments before the incident at Mar-a-Lago.
And
So I'm
he
sure a lot
has
of our
no idea,
listeners.
but I'd just like to say, don't ever have a week-long debate about politics with me in my house. And then right after, mysteriously right after some major event goes down, oh, you no longer want to talk politics, and you're gonna just, you know what, I should grow up, and you leave to leave me high and dry off a week-long argument sesh that I was proving you right over and over again. I learned a lot about myself this past week, and humility, humanity, magnetability, being the better man, taking the higher road, characteristics of all you beautiful juice boys out there. You return to the show weekly. You come back for some of the internet's leading conversations, current events, and ultimately good vibes. And we appreciate you coming back again and again as you do. But ultimately, I was right, and my visitor left the coward's exit and did not admit that to my face. He is welcome back to return to the ring, and I'll leave it at that.
I'm sure many of our listeners are curious about what are Professor Kilometer's next steps, because you've talked about him at length. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make an appearance on the show, but you've spoken about him at length, and I'm sure the listener is curious. Okay, what is this gentleman now up to? He had parked himself in your yard,
Yes.
stayed in a tent for 2 weeks, 5 days,
8 days.
8 days.
Engaged
Debated you
in mind-to-mind combat,
in mind-to-mind combat.
willfully and consensually.
You became a better man because of this.
I got stronger because I beat him.
He
And with-
perhaps did not.
Right. He took the L.
And immediately left.
Pretty much. Sad.
Where is he going to? What are his next steps? I mean, after parking his ass on your front lawn, backyard, I should say, and taking an L, as you say, what does a man do after this?
He packs up his belongings and he goes right back to his hometown, the Queen of the St. John's, Jacksonville, Florida. We're gonna get some alligator soup tonight, boys. We're gonna get us an alligator.
Okay, Ryan, let's bring it back to the original question.
Yes, original question at hand. What was it? Sorry.
Where is Professor Kilometers and what is he doing?
Oh, right on. He's gone back to Jacksonville to attend truck driving school. I said, wrong. I said, no, they're going to drug test your ass, dude. In our recent contact, he has told me that he did not pursue the truck driving school because they wanted maybe a follicle sample. I mean, he could pass a piss test. So I said, yeah, dude, they're going to ask you for that kind of shit because it's Department of Transportation.
But is this why we don't have any truckers anymore? I know this was, I'm changing the subject a little bit. I guess we can put Professor Kilometers down for a minute because this story is perhaps ending or just beginning.
Folks, we love him. He's a great friend. Professor Kilometers is one of our biggest fans. We love you, good sir. And PK, you're in our hearts. And we look forward to speaking with you again.
We are one movement, one people, one family.
So it's funny to me that we bring this up because there was a lack of truck drivers, something like this. People didn't. There was word out that people didn't want to drive trucks. But if the truck companies are testing your hair follicles for foreign substances, who wouldn't? Who would pass that test?
Oh, yes. Where are the people that would be on the road 12 hours a day and then maybe sleep on the road for weeks on end? Where are these people that would love to do that just to be able to afford enough to buy everything on credit cards, where they can have just enough to pay down some credit cards to open new credit cards?
When I go to Walmart, I want to make sure that there are 15 different kinds of decorative pillows in stock in case I decide to re-energize my bedroom. If those aren't available to me, it is a failure of the supply chain.
To all of our truck driver listeners, we thank you and we salute you for being the real heroes. You make the difference and you keep the wheels turning. And God bless you all.
So where are those people that can pass a hair follicle test? I'm shocked, frankly.
Heard a conversation with one of the heads of the Teamsters union. He mentioned the strict regulations upon our nation's truck drivers, and they would like to see him loosen some of the regulations. Like, you can be a normal human being and like smoke a joint on your anniversary, and if you get in a wreck weeks later, it shouldn't be a problem. But for this industry, it would be a huge fucking problem if you were flagged with THC. And it's a huge fucking deal that those people that like a little bit of cannabis sends them into a mental collapse because they're that disconnected with nature within themselves. I think even the medical grade stuff, if it just makes you too afraid of who you are, I think that's a sign of something else, folks. And I think that just maybe account for some of the population of people that don't get high, but there's still a lot of people on this earth that grew up under regimes of cannabis terror.
In the middle of the 20th century, in the United States of America, hundreds and hundreds of teenage boys and girls are becoming hopeless dope addicts every year. It's fantastic, it's unbelievable, and it's terrible, but it's true.
And propaganda against it. So maybe it's just easier for them to have bought into it. Probably would have been easy.
Should we transition away from this topic, which is losing juice from me very quickly?
Pretty boring.
Into
Absolutely. I was bored saying it.
Truck drivers, who the fuck cares, really?
That's your
just
fault.
give me my shit. Just give me my shit.
So I think Professor PK has decided to go with just pursuing a CDL license.
Okay.
So
Hey,
I don't know how you separate those things. But anyways, I think that would be badass to have a CDL. All of our CDL holding listeners out there, shout out to y'all. Right into the show, and just tell us what that's like. What kind of rigs you run with? Large cranes.
Keep trucking like the Doodah Man together. More or less in line. Just keep trucking on. Arrows of neon and flashing marquees out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's all on the same street. A typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings. Dallas got a soft machine. Houston, too close to New Orleans. New York got the ways and means.
should we talk about Mar-a-Lago?
Ooh, yeah, I guess so. I guess, folks, there was a situation that happened. The crew, the catering, audio, video, wardrobe, the whole nines, folks. We had the staff, we had the cast, the Juice Boys, South Florida, private jet right into Fort Lauderdale. And of course, it's nighttime the day before. And we get a feeling about maybe some disruptions for the shoot. Lee, take us through that day.
So, we had a bad feeling about what was going to happen, but we had to, we've been talking about a Mar-a-Lago brunch for some time now.
I guess cat's out of the bag a little bit here. This summer, we do have a Mar-a-Largo visit on the calendar. Look forward to that. End of summer 2022.
Brunch? Is
Yeah.
it a brunch we're invited to?
We got some big things on the calendar. Can't go into any more detail.
And, it just so happened to fall upon a particular day. We were there with the crew, had everything going for us. We got there early in the morning, with the whole team. Mar-a-Lago, they have a pretty badass breakfast. Eggs Benedict,
Legendary.
croissants, fruits,
One of the big things, and we're not a political podcast here.
We don't do that.
But one of the big things in the community of fellow brunch enthusiasts is just to get together and have a chat with important people about important topics.
So we are waiting for our turn to talk with Papa Bear, DT. And we have been advertising this for some time. We also have him and some of his family members in our fantasy football league this year. So we were really excited to talk about, the upcoming draft and everything. And just as well as some of the other things that we usually go over, the economy, supply chains, things of that nature. So we're sitting there, got half a croissant in my mouth.
This is
I'll
August.
take it.
This is August 8th.
August 8th. Yeah.
This is August 8th.
Due
Early
to the
morning.
side effects of that morning, we haven't been able to record. unfortunately.
Right.
But half a croissant in my mouth, about to take a drink of one of Mar-a-Lago's famous red berry mimosas. And what comes in the door but a flashbang. Knocked us all on our ass. The next thing we know, carrying out a bunch of documents, and meeting with Papa's canceled. So it was quite the scene. We really feel like we were part of history there on the 8th.
Yeah, and going back to that morning, Lee, you're a self-admitted early riser, correct?
Absolutely.
You have kids. You have little ones. You have the
little ones.
You have beautiful angels in the human birth raising process phase. In the beginning of a child and a human, they're a child, and they need a father, and Lee's one of the best at that. His books are some top acclaimed novels on being a dad, parenting. That morning at 9 a.m., you had already been up. You were up.
9 a.m. is basically midday for me.
Yeah.
Jocko says to wake up at 4:30, start working out. I'm up at 2:30.
Yeah. Now we're going to tiptoe lightly over what I'm about to say next. There's a lot about the place that we can't talk about. After the event, we had a lot of legal counsel come to us. This is all provided. I won't say his name, but RG was there to provide us as legal counsel and help us with more legal counsel. And the mayor, RG, he was helping us, but also there was a lot of paperwork. But essentially, we're working our way through this compound. And where he meets his day, I'm still going with my knife. Lee, you cross me, you see me at the bar. There's a cabana bar that leads to it's like a pool bar. So half of it's inside. It's a real tiki vibe. It's a half indoor outdoor thing. And you got to go through the main courtyard, and it's one of the auxiliary guest houses. And yeah, you can walk our listener through what you saw at that moment. You're passing me. Sunrise.
Chaos, really. The trampling of rights, and really the trying to intimidate our boy.
Sunrise is around 6:45 a.m.
Yeah, I've been up for 6 hours already.
Yeah, you see me there. I'm with a group of people. Right, and we had been drinking heavily. We were in a lot of shots. Hours before that moment, or an hour or so before that moment, I had to take a piss out of my ass. I had a lot of diarrhea from a lot of bad blow.
It's okay. Listen, hey guys, it's still America. It's okay.
There was an intern. And
you would think they would have the quality stuff there. You would think. It's surprising how poor it is.
And on this search for a good toilet, I went away from the indoor-outdoor tiki bar, and I went down a hallway that I was told not to enter. I entered through the main house. I got into another hallway and was looking at a couple of rooms. There were more offices. These office rooms did not have a lot in the way of direction, but it did look like rooms that would eventually have bathrooms. I found a bathroom, but on my way out, I heard a phone ring.
911 emergency response.
I guess I maybe forgot where I was at one point. It's something
You've been partying pretty hard.
I had been. I'll be honest with that. I had a lot of pills and a tummy ache. There's a lot of Jaeger and Rumpelmans. I had several dairy drinks, some daiquiris with a high dairy content that I was told was a coconut milk, and yeah, they'll be hearing from me again about that. Someone on the phone, Derek or Carrick Garmin, and I said, "Why don't you garland these balls?" And I hung up on him. And maybe that phone call wasn't intended for me. Maybe I was out of line. And Marilyn Garlic, Derek Garmin, if you're out there and you're listening to the show, I want to apologize. I should have been so rude and dismissive. Picking up a stranger's phone is not a polite thing to do. And especially when you're a guest in someone's mansion home with a 24-hour bar that's tiki themed. That's pretty much going to be the start of August 8th. And we've looked back at this a dozen times, and we can't help but consider, I'm feeling guilty when I don't need to be. It's in no way connected. But of course, it was that morning, 9 a.m. But the night before was a really good time. There was a soiree. There was a tapas bar and all you can drink. It was a good mixer. We got to meet some people, a lot of people in town for it. A lot of people at the golf course earlier. A lot of people getting back from the Live Strong tour in Saudi Arabia. Shout out to some close friends that we met at the Live Strong tour. But back to that morning, Lee, for
the listener who doesn't know, Ryan, I'm not even sure Ryan realizes it. The gentleman on the phone was the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not.
Well, here we are, folks. This is news to me. I'm not. If there's a position out there that's more of a who cares position that isn't in charge of anything and doesn't do anything, Attorney General.
General.
What is that? What is that? You're in the Army for long enough and they give you a government title?
So it is the number one lawyer for the U.S. government.
Oh, so he's one of those.
Yeah. What was he saying on the phone again?
All right. He said something about his name, and I said, "Why don't you gargle in these balls?" Balls. Merrick Gar Landia my balls. I said something like that. It was hilarious. Tyler laughed. He heard it. I said it loud.
And then what happened?
Well, then I went back to finish up my shot but they were closed. So I guess this time probably 7 a.m. ish. So I guess they were transferring staff from night shift to day shift or something. But I was just happy that they were open 24/7. But as a leader, Trump always had great ideas like that. One of his initiatives was to bring small business back. And there's nothing more smaller of a great American business than a 24-hour bar. Folks, if we get our big boy back in the office, we can get 24-hour bars and stuff of the like right on demand, all across this country. Some of the greatest ideas that us humans have ever had. He's going to bring it to us. Now, will this slow him down? We don't know. We're, of course, filled in after the fact because going back to this eventful morning that should have been our morning, it was a sit down at Mar-a-Largo. We had great names there, big, powerful business minds, just some of the top brains in the region. Anyone that knows Florida and knows of this great state understands the great legacy that Jimmy Buffett has. He did write us a letter thanking us for the invitation. Regrettably, he did have a wedding to go to. We understand that August is a big wedding season. So in those moments when that bright light hits and we're knocked out, concussed, I had already been sleeping. I was there. I had pulled up a table out to the sand. I'd gone out to the beach access. I'd pulled up a chair and a table. I'd brought my meal out there. I brought several plates. I had some of the really delightful staff there at the Mar-a-Lago Grill help me arrange some of this stuff. I told them I was a friend of Papa Bear. This was not just allowable but encouraged, and they were all doing their service. They were doing their country a great service, helping me.
What was it that they arranged for you? Was it Taco Bell? Is it Gordito?
Yeah, they
Crunch?
do an all-American fast food kitchen. It's a delightful concept. The good Dr. Trump himself has this set up where his staff can deliver out all top 18 of America's fast food drive-thrus. So anything you want, they have it. So
From McDonald's all the way down to Checkers.
Cookout, the star thing that's like Hardee's, the square with the clown.
I think that's Jack in the Box.
And the other star that's elitist. It's a coastal elitist. It's
Long John Silver's
hamburgers.
White Castle.
They do. No, that's the Lord's country. That's an Ohio thing. that's an Ohio River Valley jewel. What's the coastal elitist burger joint that's
In-N-Out?
In-N-Out? Yeah. They don't even have a logo. I don't know why I said star. That's not a thing. Maybe it's just in my head that it's just like more like shapes. I don't know if they have it's back in a different time in the diner era of America back in the 50s. Logos were more just stylings and shapes.
Shapes, yeah.
Yeah,
it has a star. It must be good.
Whatever you want, whatever your heart could desire. I had them, of course, recreate a breakfast crunch wrap from Taco Bell. All-time great. The garbage juice breakfast menu Hall of Fame. You're going to have right on there, and the home entree, the breakfast crunch wrap, the sausage breakfast crunch wrap.
What you were telling me afterwards is that they even have their own reservoir of Baja Blast Mountain Dew.
That's right. Only top dogs get that Baja Blast on tap.
So
you get all your boys together and you're showing off your massive fucking stack, your pallet of Baja Blast syrup that you got connected to your carbureting soda dispenser. It's your home rig. It's your prized possession. You show that thing off like your award-winning pig. And you always get it. You get your service staff to wax it up, to give it a good shine.
So after a night of alcohol and drug abuse, while drinking various types of alcohol mixed with all types of...
I had a one too many to drink. So we told ourselves, look, we've been planning this thing since April. We'd been in the works. We announced it the first time back in May or June on the show, and we had a fun time in the group chats with all the celebrities were coming and going. Some people were like, hey, you know I didn't get invited, but you should talk to my friend. He's so-and-so, he's really popular and famous and everyone would want to talk to him. We had to say, look, no, absolutely not.
No.
It's an elite list. So that morning, I wanted nothing more really stuff my face on food and then get to the show. But of course, I was passed out at the beach. I woke up to some questioning. I woke up to some men in suits, and then other people in suits came up. They were behind them, but initially approached. They were armed. They did ask me when the last time I showered. Again, this was a public space, and I said it's absolutely my right to bathe in the ocean. It's my God-given right, and I don't need your man-made chemicals that are just stripping your body of its T count, and you're losing vital testosterone when a man has to go through that kind of chemical peel away from him when he enters into that. And I was taking it on my own terms, being so close back to the ocean once again, just reuniting myself with that. So then we have some boring conversations. We then finally find each other. Essentially, our stories match up. They're not really interested with us anymore. They release us. I tell them, look, I got my recording equipment. It's in my backpack now. We can do a show. We can record a live show now. You guys want to talk about some cool stuff that you've seen? And they said, get out of here. We're done with you. So this is, of course, all on site. There was just like some interrogation corner set up and a lot of questions, but eventually we were given a hotel. Yeah, just all in all, kind of a hectic ordeal. Sorry again for not being out with a quicker episode. Lee, this of course will be a 2-part episode. We'll have to carry this story into the next week.
We did have to clear a lot of this with the lawyers of the Garbage Juice Law team.
Of course, this team was appointed by Papa Bear himself. RG is our attorney counsel lead, and he's been helping us find a good team. We've been in close contact with him. He's been helping us through this. Again, we can't be specific about names, folks, but we got to be tight-lipped about it, and we appreciate your understanding there. And thanks for.
I do think Michael Avenatti was another. I think he's in prison, but he's providing some pro bono legal counsel to us as well. He's okay with his name being mentioned, I believe.
Absolutely, he's a great guy. Every chance we send some stuff to his commissary, and he's able to get some phone call access time. And we just love hearing from him and the letters that he's writing. And Michael, you just stay strong in there. You'll be out of there in no time. Of course, this is a 2-part episode, and to hear the rest of this, just subscribe to our Patreon. And this is how we might
paywall the second part.
If you'd like to hear more of the show that you are listening to, buy the show on Patreon and get the behind the scenes, behind the paywall content.
We're not invited back.
Right.
We're not invited back. I believe they had recordings of that initial phone call. Again, I don't want to get too much into it, where you told the sitting U.S. Attorney General to suck my left nut.
I said, how about you garland my nutsack? And if what I'm hearing is true, and I'm presumed to believe that you, my co-Mike, wouldn't make this up or lie to me. Sure. Okay. Do I take it back? No, I don't. That'd be a bitch move. And that's not how I'm going to play this.
Well, there's a lot more to share in part two. We had quite the experience, and we're going to keep sharing as much as we can with our Juice Boys. That's really it at this stage.
Yeah. We have gone through the night before, the day before. We've gone through the early morning hours. We've gone through sunrise phone call. that was a problem. Moment of incident, turns out neither of us were conscious for it. Do we know what happened? Not specifically. Are we allowed to talk about it? Not really. Are we going to continue this conversation in the next episode? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Have we decided that we're going to paywall it? Yes. Do we have the resources to paywall at this point? Maybe.
Not at all.
Kind of. We could.
But we have to put something on Patreon
Will this story
that people need to pay for.
Will this story be better for our listeners if we draw it out and make it annoyingly long? Will it be better for our listeners if we tell the full story? The real stuff that you're not going to get from any social network, that you're not going to get from any of your feeds, you're not going to get from your coworkers.
On the traditional media outlets, they've been saying that this raid was caused by some type of confidential documentation. We have the real story here.
That morning after the incident, as we're all a little taken aback, I had demanded some water. And we're talking, and I said, I got a terrible headache. I'm not going to shower. They keep asking me if I need to shower. And then we get back into a bit of normalcy before we take off to the hotel and then back to the airport as the trip was cut short. But before that could happen.
His voice.